Is SonicR on the Sega Saturn a hidden gem or retro trash? We're diving deep to see if this 90s racing game still holds up today. From its gameplay quirks to that unforgettable soundtrack, we're rating it all. Stick around until the end for our final score. You might be surprised where it lands.
Back when I was a kid, played like a lot of Roller Coaster Tycoon 1 and 2, played a lot of The Sims. At one point, I think I had all the expansions, which is crazy.
It's a lot of money that you spent on that.
Yeah, we played it a lot. But then I also had a lot of the Sonic games. Had Sonic and Knuckles collection, and I had Sonic 3D Blast, and I had SonicR, and played a ton of SonicR as a kid. You know, when you get certain games when you're a kid, you just play them over and over again because you don't have much else. So I played that one a lot. I know it's talked about a lot online. I'm aware of its faults, but it has a special place in my heart for nostalgic reasons, and we'll get into some of the details, and I'm excited to hear what the fellas think about it. So I'll go ahead and pass it off to the boy. Let's start with the boy Cheeto on this one.
What's up, guys? So for this game, I don't really play much Sonic, to be honest. The only Sonic game I actually played a lot was Battle or Sonic Adventures 2. That game's pretty good. So when you chose this game, I didn't really know what to expect. I will say it is unique because it kind of plays like a racer, like a car racer game. When I was young, I did play a lot of Need for Speed Underground, so it kind of reminded me of that, except it was not as good. Sorry, Nick.
Ain't that the truth?
So when I was playing this game, I found it easier to control Amy because she has like a car, and I felt like drifting with her was a lot easier compared to the other characters. I did play through all the maps or stages, but I was doing horrible in all of them, to be honest. I think I only enjoyed playing the first level and the last one where it had like the robots and stuff. I didn't unlock any characters. I didn't know you could unlock them. I don't even know how to unlock them. But I did see that you could unlock them, but I didn't really play that far into it to unlocking any characters. That being said, the controls are pretty wonky. This is the first like racer where I actually don't have to press a button to accelerate or start. At least when I was playing it, for my controls, you had to push like the joystick up to move forward instead of pressing like A or B or something to accelerate. I did think it was kind of unique how they incorporated racing and like Sonic at the same time, because you can also jump off the map and like jump on those little jump pads or whatever, and you can like go off and unlock like Chaos Emeralds and stuff like that. I thought it was pretty unique. Did this game come out for Saturn?
Originally, yeah.
Yeah? Because the graphics look like Saturn graphics.
It was so it started off on Saturn, and then they ported it to PC, and then if you played it on the GameCube, the GameCube port is the PC port. And they're a little different in terms of graphics, but they're pretty much the same. The controls are a little different, but pretty much the same. It's just like, you know how like when you get a console game nowadays and versus a PC game, the PC game might have a little bit more detail. That's pretty much the only difference. So
yeah, I did play the PC port, so it did look a little cleaner. Like I was like, oh shoot, it's actually pretty clean.
Didn't you say in the group chat that it almost gave you a virus or something like that?
Oh no. Okay, so what happens? What happened is whenever you click on the game and changes like the aspect ratio or something.
Yeah.
So when you exit out of the game, like all my icons were like huge. So I had to go back to settings, display, and change the resolution size back to like 1080. So it shrinked my like screen and it made the icons like so big, and I was like, "What the heck happened?"
I was running it on at 1080 through the Dolphin emulator because I have the backup. I'm just backing on my games, you know. And I would see like on the sides of the screen, like it would flicker because like it's used to a 4:3 ratio.
Yeah.
You stretched it to 6, or not stretched it, but you gave it the anamorphic 16:9.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's what I meant by that. It didn't give me a virus, but it messed with the whole sizing of my desktop, which I thought I was tripping out. I was like, what the heck? But yeah, so the music was kind of fire, I'm not gonna lie. They all had different songs, but same artist, and they're all cool. Like, they kind of remind me of the old Pokemon songs. Like, you know, like friendship, hope, whatever, you know.
Supersonic Racing.
Supersonic Racing.
That's a bop, bro.
Yeah, they were good bops. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I probably would play again if I played it with someone else, because I know there's like multiplayer split screen, I think. I didn't try out the balloon one. I know there was like a balloon game. I didn't try
Is there?
out, but yeah, there was like a versus with balloons or something.
It's
I never
it's pretty
played
much
that.
just find the balloon. It's just like
It's like Mario Kart where you have to like
it's not a
get each
battle
of the
mode.
balloons?
You pretty much just have to collect all the balloons on the stage, and they always spawn in the same places. So you kind of run out of. It's pretty repetitive, pretty quick.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, other than that, it was all right. The controls pretty janky, the song was pretty good. And yeah, I'll give it overall, I'm gonna give it a C rating.
You know what they say, C's get degrees.
Exactly.
And with that,
All
do you have
right.
anything else you want to mention? You want to pass it on to somebody else?
I'm gonna go ahead and pass it on to the boy Sam.
Hey, it's your boy Sam. Let me find my name here. It's your boy Sam. Yeah, I played it a couple weeks back, and I played all of the races originally one time through with Sonic, and I did like the game. It was fun. The music honestly did make... If the music was bad, I would have probably said I hated playing this game. But the music was fire, so I wouldn't mind. Like whenever I would lose and I got stuck or something, and then somebody passed me up last second, I would be like, oh, but then I would go back into the stage and I would hear that song again. I'm like, yo, this is a mob. So it wasn't that bad, but the songs did help a lot. And the thing is though, I don't know if music should be a thing that makes a game be like, okay, this is bearable. Unless you're playing like
To me,
Guitar
that
Hero
has
or
to be the
Just
case
Dance
a
or
lot.
something. Okay,
That's literally like
to me
that's
at least.
Literally, like that's the out of most of the Sonic games, most people say the only thing good about them is the music themselves. Like there's some games that are good, but like the whole series, like everybody's always like, at least the music's good, you know? Because like some games, even like Sonic 06 has some good songs, but like yeah, there's a lot of bad games. But
Yeah,
What
like
about Sonic Chronicles? I heard that one had like a very bad soundtrack.
that one I didn't play a ton. I have it, and I couldn't get past the it forces you to use the touchscreen, like motion control, like the DS and like touchscreen, like even to move around your characters. So I couldn't get past that, so I never really give it a shot.
For those who are unaware, when I said Chronicles, we're actually talking about Sonic Chronicles on the Nintendo DS. It's just that this is a reference to one of our earlier episodes. Maybe a link will be in the description or something. That way you can check it out. But either way, that was just a little bit of a side tangent. Sorry for interrupting, Sam. Keep on going with your opinions.
Yeah, no worries. Like Tito mentioned, the controls were janky. Yes. I had to figure out, granted, I don't know if I could push start and look at the controls. I played it on the GameCube, the remastered, and I think there was like some splash screen when you started the game. It showed you all of the controls. Being the dumb person that I am, I didn't even read that. I skipped it, and I'm like, I know more than you. I'm going to play the game. And the controls were janky because of it. I didn't know how to turn. Yeah, I figured out some weird hack way of doing it. I don't know if it's the right way or the wrong way. Anyway, the one thing that wasn't forgiving the controls, yeah, whatever. It was an old game. I got used to it quick. They were not good, but a lot of games, racing games specifically in that era, kart racers, bad controls. Was it the Homies on the DS? Terrible. Chavo del Ocho, kart racer, terrible.
Hey, the
All them
PS3
kart
game?
racers. It's retro, bro. If it's 18 years and it can vote, it's retro in my book.
I like that logic. If it could vote, it's retro.
Yeah, that's my logic. So like, I'm not gonna dock it for having bad controls, but I'm not gonna praise it for its controls. However, like the mechanics and like the engine physics in the game was horrible, and that was one thing that actually did like negatively impact my experience. I'd be slipping all over the place. I'd be taking turns that like or like there's no way you could turn at this speed, but then all of the CPUs and like the computers were like taking it easy. And I'm like, am I doing something? I know I'm dumb, but like, am I that dumb, bro? Like, what am I doing wrong? But I will note one last thing before I pass it on to the next person. After I beat the levels, I unlocked Dr. Robotnik. And I don't know if there's another character after it because I didn't unlock anybody else, but Dr. Robotnik was broken, bro. I could just like drive over the water on a bunch of these levels, and like all the other characters, you'd fall in the water. Dr. Robotnik would just go over the water. Anyway, that's one last thing I wanted to mention. I did like the game overall, though. It was fire. It was okay. Fire. I don't know. It was good. I enjoyed my time playing it. It's not a great game, but I enjoyed it for what it was. Let me put it that way. But I think, I don't remember what's the last game we gave a C, but I think this game is not as good as that. So there's no way I could, in my heart, give it a C. So I have to rate it as a D on my end. So I'm going to be rating SonicR a D on my end. And then with that, I will pass it on to the next person. It will be your boy, Neo Geo Leo, a.k.a. the Trash Can.
Hey, Thrash Can.
Oh, sorry. I don't know how to read.
Okay. So, as I said earlier, Nick chose this game for us. Now, Nick, you would call us friends, right?
I wanted to torture you guys.
Yeah, if this is what you make your friends play, I don't want to see what you make your enemies play, because Jesus, this game, I'm sorry, was awful. Now, the thing about me is, I'm a huge Sega Saturn guy, and Sam was kind of saying like, oh, well, with a lot of these older games, especially these early racers and stuff, like a lot of them in the controls department don't hold up. But thing is, when I play some other games on the system, I'm like, oh, okay, I could enjoy this perfectly well, and I'll have a good time with it. With this, I was struggling so hard. Like, anytime you want to take a turn, like, I'm like, okay, I just want to go a little bit to the right. Oh, I fell off the map. Anytime I want to like kind of just jump forward a little bit, nope, trajectory was all over the place. This game is extremely unbalanced. There was points where I would go from last place to second place to sixth, or like second to last, and end up in last place by the end of the race. But then, like, if I went to the next level, the one that was supposed to be harder, I took a path that you as a player aren't intended to take, and I would end up in first place. Things like that, where it made me kind of go, was this game really play tested all that much? Because there is a lot of jank, and I'm going to be honest, I could not get through the game completely. I played it for about like 45 minutes, and I was like, I give up. And the thing is, too, when I was playing this game, like, I had a very, I don't know if laggy is the right term, but like the controls were so bad that I was like, is my retro tank acting up or something? And so I was like, okay, let me restart the game. Nope, still having a bad experience. Okay, what's going on? Try to play a different game. Played smooth as butter, and I was like, oh no, this game just that bad with the controls and physics department that it actually made me think that there's something going on with my hardware. But I will say, one single positive I could give, and the guys could have already kind of outlined this: fire soundtrack. I am not going to debate that, like, whatever the lyrics were, Supersonic Racing. I was enjoying enough playing the game because of the soundtrack, but every other aspect, I was just like, oh, it's like Nick's just repeatedly punching me in the stomach and saying, are you enjoying yourself?
Can you feel the sunshine?
Can you feel the sunshine?
Last episode we talked about how there were like collector's editions that kind of suck. I will say, if I bought the collector's edition of this game and the game sucked, but it came with the CD soundtrack, I'd be like, bro, I do not regret getting this collector's edition.
Okay,
you can actually buy the soundtrack. I haven't looked it up in a couple of years, but a couple of years ago you could buy the soundtrack and it was like over $200. So
never much.
Yeah.
Have they got a reissue or anything?
No, I don't think so. I think in one country they released on vinyl, and that one goes for a lot too.
So you're saying even the CD soundtrack goes for a lot?
Yeah. I'm pretty
That's
sure.
200. That's more than I spent on any CD I've ever bought, and I've bought some decently expensive ones. Anyways, I'll cap this off by saying, oh my god, this game was terrible, and normally soundtrack could elevate the experience, but I'm struggling to even put it at a D, to be honest. So, do we have a coin flip? I'm stuck between D and F, but I'll go on a coin flip, and that's where my final grade will go.
Nick, you want to do a screen share and then Google up flip a coin?
Okay, heads D, tails F, because I'm stuck right in between.
This is where our segment where we're sponsored by Sports Bet.
Sports.
I'm sponsored by C4 Energy. I'm just not drinking it at the
Ready?
moment.
Call it.
All right, let's go.
Call it. Heads or tails?
Heads is going to be D, tails is going to be F.
It's an F. I'll share my screen. I found it's going for
My God, that's expensive.
290.
yeah.
We
What does the cover look like at least?
Is that a poster? Wow, that's pretty fire.
Okay, that's kind of
Oh,
cool.
whoa.
That's
That's
the
like-
adventure one.
I was going to say that looks like Sonic Adventure art, but I'm guessing the
Yeah.
soundtrack got released after that game, but
Probably.
it's still clearly out of print.
I was gonna
It
ask
says
Nick,
1998 on there.
yeah.
I
So
was
it
gonna
came
ask
out.
Nick, was this game a filler game?
So there was never like an official Sonic game on the Saturn. I mean, Sonic
That's
3D
actually something I
Blast.
forgot to bring up.
Yeah, Sonic 3D Blast came out, but technically it was also a Genesis game. And then there was a game called Sonic Jam, which was a compilation. And within Sonic Jam, there was this like hub area where you could actually, I think for the first time, control Sonic in 3D. Aside from that, there was no like official Sonic game on the Saturn. There was supposed to be one called Sonic Extreme. It was canceled. It looked like it was going to be terrible. Look it up if you guys haven't seen it. But SonicR was a rushed game for sure. And the biggest gripes I've seen with it over the years are definitely the controls and the lack of content. I think they released this game pretty quick. So yeah, that's why, it only has a few levels.
Yeah,
One
that
more
was
thing to add to that is it's really sad that there was never a mainline Sonic game for the Sega Saturn, because I think that's a big reason as to why it did not do as well as it could have in the worldwide market. And there was actually one more game that could have ended up being a Sonic game, but there was a dispute between Sega of Japan and Sega of America, if I remember correctly. Bug for the Sega Saturn started off as a Sonic game, but Sega of Japan was like, nope, you're not doing that. And since they had like first right of refusal, pretty much what they said goes, and they just made it its own IP instead. So yeah, Bug could have ended up being Sonic Saturn or something. And I can definitely see that.
Bug, the graphical style of Bug, if you guys have seen that game, is kind of similar to the Sonic Extreme game that they were going to release. It was kind of like that sort of isometric style of game. It did have like a fisheye lens view, which is very weird. So if you go on YouTube, you could see footage of it. And some fans have actually recreated it. Not the full game, but some like demo levels. And I don't think it would have been a good level or a good game. It definitely wouldn't have held a candle to Mario 64. I think it would have maybe been fun at the time, but it would have aged horribly, in my opinion. But yeah. Have all of us shared?
And now I think it's your turn. So Nick, I'm going to officially pass it on to you.
So I'm glad that you guys at least enjoyed the music. That was kind of what I was thinking was going to happen. This game is definitely a game that has its flaws. I was playing it when like a week after we said we were going to play it. I played it, and like I thought to myself, damn, this game is hard to control. Like, even if I played it so much, it's hard to control. And it's a game you definitely have to get used to. But I'm not saying it's a game you should get used to. Like, I enjoy it very much, but like, you gotta kind of have to learn how to, like, if you use the shoulder buttons, you kind of like turn and drift a little bit. But there is a little bit of a learning curve, but it's not a game I think you need to get used to, because like, there's honestly not much there. But from what I played of it as a kid, I still really enjoy it. The music is kind of kind of brings back the nostalgia for me. And there's a lot of quirks and tricks that you can learn along the way. Like how Sam was mentioning, Eggman is broken because he can go over the water. Water is like the biggest obstacle in the game in any Sonic game. So a lot of the characters in the later unlockables, like all the best ones can go over water, like Super Sonic and Metal Sonic. They could jump across water. Metal Sonic could just run across water, and then each of them have their attributes. So, for example, Sonic is among the casts that first come out. Sonic is the fastest, but he has like the worst handling. And then Knuckles,
that explains a lot.
Yeah, Knuckles is like the balanced character, and then Tails has the slowest speed. Aside from Amy, Amy is the slowest, but she's unique because she has her turbo boost thing and can go over water. But Tails has the best handling, but he's kind of the slowest. And then as you unlock the other characters, they all kind of reflect their attributes. They're kind of like Echo Fighters, if you will, from Smash. Like Metal Sonic is a kind of an Echo Fighter of Sonic, Metal Knuckles, etc. But yeah, the thing about this game that's weird is it's a little unique because it's a platform racer. I haven't seen many other games like that, and I wish they would bring that idea back because I think it just makes sense for Sonic. But the thing that's terrible about it is
everything else.
Like, as Cheetah was mentioning, like it's weird to control a racing game by moving forward. So they designed it like it's a platformer, but you turn like a car. But when you stop and have to turn, you control like a tank control game. So I don't know. It's like I'm not sure if it ever happened to you guys where you had to come to a dead stop and turn around, but it takes forever. And yeah, I think the thing that carries it the most is the music, and I think whenever I've seen videos on it on YouTube, that's pretty much what people say is like it's kind of like it's a unique, interesting game, but besides from the music, it's not the best for sure. And I wish one day that they would come out with like a modern take on it, because I think it would be cool, you know. I know there's some Sonic car racing games that are pretty good, but I would like to see them try it again. I think I mentioned earlier, but if you guys have ever heard of Sonic Jam, as I mentioned, there's that hub world on the Saturn that in that it was kind of like a beta for Sonic Adventure, and I feel like if the game's somewhat controlled like that, or kind of like a diet version of Sonic Adventure's controls, it could have been much better. But yeah, I think the concept is great, but yeah, the game it definitely it did not age well at all, and I don't think it was very fun to play when it came out. I have a good time with it because I played it and it's just nostalgic for me, but honestly, I'm gonna have to give this like a D+. Like I'm trying to be objective, and I know I have a lot of nostalgia for it, but I know it's not like, I know what it is, you know? So
before we head out and give our final grade, like once we rounded everything out, can you look up the retrospective reviews the contemporary reviews of this game? I want to see what people were grading it at the time. Maybe it was at least somewhat respected at the time and it just got a bad reputation over time, or maybe people hated it from the get-go, but I'm just curious to see.
So
I'm
surprised
I rated it higher than Nick.
So
you're the one that gave us the highest grading.
I know.
Ratings.
I was like, what?
So
I think Isaac and if Isaac was here, he would probably also put it in the F tier.
So this is just anecdotal evidence based on what I've witnessed. Like I've watched a lot of reviews of this game over the years because it's very nostalgic for me. And like the people who reviewed it a long time ago reviewed it worse than people do now. I think people actually review it more favorably now because like it has I think one of the other things I didn't mention, but I personally think that the graphics, although they're dated, have a lot of charm to them. Like
okay,
I think
I will give it that.
I did enjoy the graphics, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I do love that.
It's my first time seeing the retro looking Amy too.
Yeah.
I've never seen that version of Amy.
The thing about the Saturn version, it is technically a technical marvel because like the Saturn had I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Leo, but I think the Saturn, first of all, wasn't known as a 3D powerhouse, and it did like full transparencies, which I think was kind of hard at the time for the Saturn. The GameCube, the GameCube version, in my opinion, is much better just because you could use an analog stick compared to D-pad, but I know you could use the analog stick. I think actually for the Saturn, but
yeah, you're right about both those things. The Saturn was not meant for 3D. They kind of just tacked that on at the last minute, and the thing about transparencies is also true, where they had to find a workaround, because I think, if I remember correctly, with a lot of Saturn transparencies, you had to kind of flag each individual pixel for transparency or something like that. So it was very difficult because it was not meant to do that initially.
So I'm on Metacritic, and it doesn't have any critic scores from back in the day, but it does have user scores, and it's at a 7.5.
7.5?
That's pretty high.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm going to guess it's just because the people who gravitate to the game are Sonic fans, to be honest. Like,
you guys are just waiting for a good game that you take anything?
Pretty much.
Sonic and All-Stars Racing, just play that instead.
No, the way I looked at it, Nick, was like, because I only played a little bit of it. I feel like if I practice the game more, I get better at it and I'd enjoy it a little bit more. But the visuals are nice and the music wasn't good too.
That's like whenever people say, hey, watch this 20-season show, but I swear after the 5th season it gets good. Trust me, bro.
But it does. Like One Piece, it got good.
I ain't going to sit through 1,000 episodes of that. I got one piece of advice for you. Watch a better anime.
Game of Thrones was the opposite, dude. It was good and then it got bad.
Game of Thrones sucked after. Like season 7 and 8 were like, oh, that's rough. Anyways, wild tangent. What are we thinking about ultimately grading SonicR?
I think the average would be a D, right? Based on everybody's...
Low D, probably low D, because I got 2 Ds and F.
Yeah,
so the F and Ds offset each other? No, wait, no, that's not how it works, right? It's a D? D.
Do the math. Do the GPA on it.
D.
Calculate GPA.
on it? Let me see. But we give it a C, an F, and...
F would be 0, right?
So I think that goes to D pretty much.
Yeah.
D.
Yeah, it's a D.
We do have an announcement to make as far as the next Cartridge Club game, and this one's going to be chosen by Cheeto himself. Cheeto, what do you have for us?
So, the game that I was waiting for the drums. So, the game I've chosen is a GBA game. So, Leo is going to like this because he's a GBA connoisseur. But I end up choosing the F-Zero Maximum Velocity game on the Game Boy Advance. We're going to play another racing game. Yep.
Do your voice, Leo.
Maximum velocity.